The process of writing in shorthand is called stenography, from the Greek stenos and graphiography. It has also been called brachography, from Greek brachus, and tachygraphy, from Greek tachus, depending on whether compression or speed of writing is the goal. Many forms of shorthand exist. A typical shorthand system provides symbols or abbreviations for words and common phrases, which can allow someone well-trained in the system to write as quickly as people speak. Abbreviation methods are alphabet-based and use different abbreviating approaches. Several autocomplete programs, standalone or integrated in text editors, based on word lists, also include a shorthand function for frequently used phrases. Many journalists use shorthand writing to quickly take notes at press conferences or other similar scenarios. Shorthand was used more widely in the past, before the invention of recording and dictation machines. Shorthand was considered an essential part of secretarial training as well as being useful for journalists. Although the primary use of shorthand has been to record oral dictation or discourse, some systems are used for compact expression. For example, healthcare professionals may use shorthand notes in medical charts and correspondence. Shorthand notes are typically temporary, intended either for immediate use or for later transcription to longhand, although longer-term uses do exist, diaries being a common example. History. Classical antiquity. The earliest known indication of shorthand systems is from ancient Greece, namely, the Parthenon, in which a stone from mid-4th century BC was found. The marble slab shows a writing system primarily based on vowels, using certain modifications to indicate consonants. Hellenistic tachygraphy is reported from the 2nd century BC onwards, though there are indications that it might be older. The oldest datable reference is a contract from Middle Egypt, stating that Oxyrhynchos gives the semiographer Apollonios for 2 years to be taught shorthand writing. Hellenistic tachygraphy consisted of word stem signs and word-ending signs. Over time, many syllabic signs were developed. The Tironian notes consisted of Latin word stem abbreviations and of word-ending abbreviations. The original Tironian notes consisted of about 4,000 signs, but new signs were introduced so that their number might increase to as many as 13,000. In order to have a less complex writing system, a syllabic shorthand script was sometimes used. After the decline of the Roman Empire, the Tironian notes were no longer used to transcribe speeches, though they were still known and taught, particularly during the Carolingian Renaissance. After the 11th century, however, they were mostly forgotten. When many monastery libraries were secularized in the course of the 16th century Protestant Reformation, long-forgotten manuscripts of Tironian notes were rediscovered. Imperial China. In Imperial China, clerks used an abbreviated, highly cursive form of Chinese characters to record court proceedings and criminal confessions. These records were used to create more formal transcripts. One cornerstone of imperial court proceedings was that all confessions had to be acknowledged by the accused's signature, personal seal, or thumbprint, requiring fast writing. Versions of this technique survived in clerical professions into the modern day, and influenced by Western shorthand methods. Some new methods were invented. Europe and America. An interest in shorthand or short writing developed towards the end of the 16th century in England. In 1588, Timothy Bright published his Charactery, An Art of Short, Swift and Secret Writing by Character, which introduced a system with 500 arbitrary symbols, each representing one word. Bright's book was followed by a number of others, including John Willis's Art of Stenography in 1602, Edmund Willis's An Abbreviation of Writing by Character in 1618, and Thomas Shelton's Short Writing in 1626. Shelton's system became very popular and is well known because it was used by Samuel Pepys for his diary and for many of his official papers, such as his letter copy books. It was also used by Sir Isaac Newton in some of his notebooks. Shelton borrowed heavily from his predecessors, especially Edmund Willis. Each consonant was represented by an arbitrary but simple symbol, while the 5 vowels were represented by the relative positions of the surrounding consonants. Thus, the symbol for B with symbol for T drawn directly above it represented bat, while B with T below it meant but. Top right represented E, middle right I, and lower right O. A vowel at the end of a word was represented by a dot in the appropriate position, while there were additional symbols for initial vowels. This basic system was supplemented by further symbols representing common prefixes and suffixes. One drawback of Shelton's system was that there was no way to distinguish long and short vowels or diphthongs, so the BAT sequence could mean bat, or bait, while BOT might mean boot, or bought, or boat. The reader needed to use the context to work out which alternative was meant. The main advantage of the system was that it was easy to learn and to use. It was popular, and under the 2 titles of short writing and tachography, Shelton's book ran to more than 20 editions between 1626 and 1710. Shelton's chief rivals were Theophilus Metcalfe's stenography or short writing, which was in its 55th edition by 1721, and Jeremiah Richer's system of 1654, which was published under various titles including The Pen's Dexterity Completed. Another notable English shorthand system creator of the 17th century was William Mason, who published Art's Advancement in 1682. Modern-looking geometric shorthand was introduced with John Byrome's New Universal Shorthand of 1720. Samuel Taylor published a similar system in 1786, the first English shorthand system to be used all over the English-speaking world. Thomas Gurney published brachography in the mid-18th century. In 1834 in Germany, Franz Xaver Gabelsberger published his Gabelsberger shorthand. Gabelsberger based his shorthand on the shapes used in German cursive handwriting rather than on the geometrical shapes that were common in the English stenographic tradition. Taylor's system was superseded by Pitman Shorthand, first introduced in 1837 by English teacher Sir Isaac Pitman, and improved many times since. Pitman's system has been used all over the English-speaking world and has been adapted to many other languages, including Latin. Pitman's system uses a phonemic orthography. For this reason, it is sometimes known as phonography, meaning sound writing, in Greek. One of the reasons this system allows fast transcription is that vowel sounds are optional when only consonants are needed to determine a word. The availability of a full range of vowel symbols, however, makes complete accuracy possible. Isaac's brother Ben Pitman, who lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, was responsible for introducing the method to America. The record for fast writing with Pitman Shorthand is 350 WPM during a 2-minute test by Nathan Berer in 1922. Despite being 175 years old, Pitman Shorthand is still relevant today and used by thousands of journalists, executive PA and secretaries across the world. In Europe, particularly in Great Britain, there are thousands of educational institutions teaching Pitman's famous shorthand. In the United States and some other parts of the world it has been largely superseded by Gregg Shorthand, which was first published in 1888 by John Robert Gregg. This system was influenced by the handwriting shapes that Gabelsberger had introduced. Gregg's shorthand, like Pitman's, is phonetic, but has the simplicity of being light line. Pitman's system uses thick and thin strokes to distinguish related sounds, while Gregg's uses only thin strokes and makes some of the same distinctions by the length of the stroke. In fact, Gregg claimed joint authorship in another shorthand system published in pamphlet form by one Thomas Stratford Malone. Malone, however, claimed sole authorship and a legal battle ensued. The two systems use very similar, if not identical, symbols. However, these symbols are used to represent different sounds. For instance, on page 10 of the manual is the word dim. However, in the Gregg system the spelling would actually mean NUK or NUK. Japan. Our Japanese pen shorthand began in 1882, transplanted from the American Pitman system. Geometric theory has great influence in Japan, but Japanese motions of writing gave some influence to our shorthand. We are proud to have reached the highest speed in capturing spoken words with a pen. Major pen shorthand systems are Shujian, Sangin, Nakanoa and Waseda. A repeated vowel shown here means a vowel spoken in double length in Japanese, sometimes shown instead as a bar over the vowel. Including a machine shorthand system, Soku Taipu, we have 5 major shorthand systems now. The Japan Shorthand Association now has 1,000 members. Suguo Kaneko. There are several other pen shorthands in use, leading to a total of 9 pen shorthands in use. In addition, there is the Yamana pen shorthand and 3 machine shorthand systems. The machine shorthands have gained some ascendancy over the pen shorthands. Japanese shorthand systems commonly use a syllabic approach, much like the common writing system for Japanese. There are several semi-cursive systems. Most follow a left-to-right, top-to-bottom writing direction. Several systems incorporate a loop into many of the strokes, giving the appearance of Graham, or crosses eclectic shorthand without actually functioning like them. The Kotani system's strokes frequently cross over each other and in so doing form loops. Japanese also has its own variously cursive form of writing kanji characters, the most extremely simplified of which is known as sosho. The 2 Japanese syllabaries are themselves adapted from the grass script versions of the Chinese characters, the hiragana being direct adaptations, and the katakana being adapted from the hiragana prior to the Meiji era. Japanese did not have its own shorthand. Takuzari Kuki was the first to give classes in a new Western-style non-ideographic shorthand of his own design, emphasis being on the non-ideographic and new. This was the first shorthand system adapted to writing phonetic Japanese. All other systems prior being based on the idea of whole or partial semantic ideographic writing like that used in the Chinese characters, and the phonetic approach being mostly peripheral to writing in general. The new soki were used to transliterate popular vernacular storytelling, theater of the day. This led to a thriving industry of sokibon. The ready availability of the stories in book form, and higher rates of literacy may also have helped kill the Yosa theater, as people no longer needed to see the stories performed in person to enjoy them. Sokibon also allowed a whole host of what had previously been mostly oral rhetorical and narrative techniques into writing, such as imitation of dialect in conversations, classification, geometric and script-like systems. Shorthands that use simplified letter forms are sometimes termed stenographic shorthands, contrasting with alphabetic shorthands below. Stenographic shorthands can be further differentiated by the target letter forms as geometric, script, and semi-script or elliptical. Geometric shorthands are based on circles, parts of circles, and straight lines placed strictly horizontally, vertically or diagonally. The first modern shorthand systems were geometric. Examples include Pitman Shorthand, Boyd's syllabic shorthand, Samuel Taylor's universal stenography, the French Prévost de Lune, and the Duployé system, adapted to write the Kamloops Wawa writing system. Script shorthands are based on the motions of ordinary handwriting. The first system of this type was published under the title Cadmus Britannicus by Simon Bordley in 1787. However, the first practical system was the German Gabelsberger shorthand of 1834. This class of system is now common in all more recent German shorthand systems, as well as in Austria, Italy, Scandinavia, the Netherlands, Russia, other Eastern European countries, and elsewhere. Script geometric, or semi-script shorthands are based on the ellipse. Semi-script can be considered a compromise between the geometric systems and the script systems. The first such system was that of George Quilmes in 1885. However, the most successful system of this type was the one introduced by John Robert Gregg in 1888, who had studied not only the geometric English systems, but also the German Stolzer stenography, a script shorthand. The semi-script philosophy gained popularity in Italy in the first half of the 20th century, with three different systems created by Cima, Machini, and Moschiaro. Other examples include T-line shorthand and Thomas natural shorthand, systems resembling standard writing. Some shorthand systems attempted to ease learning by using characters from the Latin alphabet. Such non-stenographic systems have often been described as alphabetic, and purists might claim that such systems are not true shorthand. However, these alphabetic systems do have value for students who cannot dedicate the years necessary to master a stenographic shorthand. Alphabetic shorthands cannot be written at the speeds theoretically possible with symbol systems, 200 words per minute or more, but require only a fraction of the time to acquire a useful speed of between 60 and 100 words per minute. Non-stenographic systems often supplement alphabetic characters by using punctuation marks as additional characters, giving special significance to capitalized letters, and sometimes using additional non-alphabetic symbols. Examples of such systems include stenoscript, stenospeed, speedwriting, Faulkner shorthand, quickhand and alphahand. However, there are some pure alphabetic systems, including personal shorthand, superwrite, easyscript, speedwriting, agilwriting and keyscript shorthand, which limit their symbols to a priori alphabetic characters. These have the added advantage that they can also be typed, for instance, onto a computer, PDA, or cell phone. Early editions of speedwriting were also adapted so that they could be written on a typewriter, and therefore would possess the same advantage. Varieties of vowel representation shorthand systems can also be classified according to the way that vowels are represented. Alphabetic, expression by normal vowel signs that are not fundamentally different from consonant signs. Mixed alphabetic, expression of vowels and consonants by different kinds of strokes. Abjad, no expression of the individual vowels at all except for indications of an initial or final vowel. Marked abjad, expression of vowels by the use of detached signs written around the consonant signs. Positional abjad, expression of an initial vowel by the height of the word in relation to the line, no necessary expression of subsequent vowels. Abugida, expression of a vowel by the shape of a stroke, with the consonant indicated by orientation. Mixed abugida, expression of the vowels by the width of the joining stroke that leads to the following consonant sign, the height of the following consonant sign in relation to the preceding one, and the line pressure of the following consonant sign. Machine shorthand systems. Traditional shorthand systems are written on paper with a stenographic pencil or a stenographic pen. Some consider that, strictly speaking, only handwritten systems can be called shorthand. Machine shorthand is also a common term for writing produced by a stenotype, a specialized keyboard. These are often used for courtroom transcripts and in live subtitling. However, there are other shorthand machines used worldwide, including Velotype, Palantype in the UK, Grandjean stenotype, used extensively in France and French-speaking countries, Michaela stenotype, used extensively in Italy, and Stenokey, used in Bulgaria and elsewhere. See also speech-to-text reporter, a person using a form of real-time shorthand originally designed to assist deaf people. Common modern English shorthand systems. One of the most widely used forms of shorthand is still the Pitman Shorthand method described above, which has been adapted for 15 languages. Although Pitman's method was extremely popular at first and is still commonly used, especially in the UK, its popularity has been superseded, especially in the US, by Gregg Shorthand, a method developed by John Robert Gregg in 1888. In the UK, T-line shorthand is now more commonly taught and used than Pitman, being a spelling-based system as opposed to one based on phonetics. T-line is also the most common method of shorthand taught to New Zealand journalists, who typically require 80 words per minute to obtain certification. T-line is the recommended system of the National Council for the Training of Journalists. Other less commonly used systems in the UK are Pitman 2000, Pitman Script, Speedwriting and Gregg